standing in front of over 200,000 feet of conduit that will eventually house fiber optic cable. Over the past 20 years, the cable industry has invested over $275 billion in their infrastructure. You can bet these cable companies are interested in protecting their assets and being reimbursed for their losses when their assets are damaged. Cable companies are now hiring companies such as PRG, Project Resources Group, to conduct non-biased damage investigations on utility hits in order to recoup their cost for their losses. Regardless of marking accuracy, if the excavator does not have a compliant locate ticket, the excavator will be liable for the damage. Excavators must call in 48 hours in advance of their excavation. A locate ticket is good for 20 calendar days from the time the locate ticket is called in. An excavator must work within the original scope of work reported in the original locate ticket. If the locate markings are not within the legal tolerance zone, and the excavator is working on a compliant ticket and within the scope of work reported, the locate company is responsible for the damages. There are literally thousands of dollars involved in these utility hits, especially when you're talking about fiber optic cables. PRG is hired to determine the root cause of the damage as well as who's at fault.
Today we have encountered a Mediacom 288 count fiber. What I can say with certainty is that these locate marks clearly establish the path of that fiber. They were present, they were flagged, and it was done correctly. That would lead me to determine that the damager involved would be at fault for this damage.
When these cables are damaged, it's not just splice it back together. It may seem like a simple task to fix the damage. It is not. An emergency crew has to be called in to restore services immediately. Once services are restored, an additional crew is probably coming back in to replace the span that was damaged.
It takes a lot of people when fiber's involved. They call the field tech out, he goes and investigates. Once he does that, he'll get a TDR, which is a piece of equipment that actually hooks up, and what it does is sends impulses out. And that'll determine how far the cut may be.
We're shooting this fiber. I have the machine hooked up to the fiber now. We're shooting it up to just 200 feet at this point, but I do have an anomaly at 18 feet. That's where we'd get the contractor crews come up, dig up the fiber, find the problem, repair it, and get our customers back on service.
So in that meantime, I'm taking my fiber jumper and I'm getting it prepped up in the trailer. So again, why I'm doing this, waiting for the techs out in the field and the contractors to get the fiber dug up and brought to me, I'm going to prep our temporary.
Once PRG has concluded their investigation, they put together a claims package with an invoice and they send it to the damaging party. When these invoices are received, the damaging parties are surprised at the cost of fixing these cables. We provide detailed invoices showing every entity used. That's equipment, that's manpower, and that's materials, and it all adds up very quickly.
It took so many hours to figure it out, and then we had to dig it up. You're talking 50 feet on each side to get it to the trailer. This is what they bring into me when they finally get it to me. And that takes several people. You're talking contractors, that could be 3 or 4 of them. You're talking 2 or 3 of our people. And then again, you're talking, you could take up to 6 to 10 people out there all night long. My next step, once I've got everything prepped into my enclosure, I'm going to start separating my fibers. A lot of people think that fiber's easy. It's not. Between stripping it down to where you need it, to the fiber docks, it explains what goes to what. This here is a fiber tube. What this does, I put it on my fiber, just like that. And that's going to take care of, once I strip it to the glass, and once it fuses it together, what that tube does, it goes in my heater. and it shrinks over that glass because there's nothing to protect that glass anymore. I'm going to take the plastic off of it. Now we're down to the glass. You have to clean off the film from there, and then I have to cleave it for the size for what it takes for the machine. Put it in the cleaver, as we call it. It's just a cutting tool. Then it goes in the machine on one side. Then the other side of the fiber comes into the other angle of the enclosure. Exact same process. That's what the machine needs. That's your glass. That's all your data, your information runs on. Just that piece of glass. Once I set it in the machine, I'll shut it, and the machine pretty much does the work. Right now we're at a 0.02, but their standards is a 0.05. That's as high as I can go. Anything above that, I have to redo it. So once that's completed, I'll lift this up, put it over the glass, pop it in the heater, and hit the heater. Now the machine will let me know when it's done. So now, since this is cooked, the machine has told me when you're finally done and you got a piece of fiber spliced. It takes more time to prep it and get it ready to splice than it does the actual splicing. There's so much involved that people don't realize, and again, you're talking hospitals, fire departments, medical, the people, the 911 calls. It involves all of that, all the customers, all the techs, contractors, clear up to me, finally getting down to this one individual fiber, splicing it up. The man hours is just unbelievable.
When these damages occur, the monetary cost to businesses, even entire cities, can be huge. A damaged fiber optic cable, for instance, feeding the West Des Moines Wells Fargo campus could affect up to 7,000 employees. A damaged fiber optic cable feeding the downtown Nationwide campus could affect up to 4,000 employees. These employees depend every day on connectivity so they can go about their daily routine. Small businesses are also greatly impacted by cut communication cables. Most small businesses use credit card machines. With cut cables, these credit card machines are rendered useless, forcing small businesses to only accept cash for the time of the outage. Damaged communication cables can take down cell towers as well, affecting entire communities' ability to use their cell phones. Without those services, we are unable to reach police, fire, or ambulances. In-home medical monitoring depends on communication cables for broadband connectivity. Damaging communication cables can potentially put these patients at risk.
For Clark County Hospital, and all hospitals in general, a fiber optic connection is a deal changer for us. If it wasn't for the high speeds that fiber optic gives us, we wouldn't be able to provide the telemedicine, whether it's the diagnostic imaging telemedicine or the video telemedicine that we were able to provide today.
Our investigations will show if you've made a mistake. Mistakes do happen. However, if you're at fault, you're going to be billed for the damages. The best way to avoid being a part of one of these investigations and being liable for the bill in an invoicing process is to do things right when you're out there excavating. Plan ahead. Call in your locate. Use positive response to make sure that all your utilities are either located or cleared. Look for signs of an unmarked utility when you're on site. The most telltale sign is a warning sign. If you have a warning sign and there's no marks for utilities, it's time to get on your phone and call Iowa One Call and make sure all your utilities are marked. Other signs include vaults. Underground vaults have cables in them. This is 24-count fiber optic cable. No marks around it. Other signs include risers that come down poles. Cable transitions from aerial down to underground, and a good sign is a riser coming down that pole. Always look for signs of an unmarked utility before you excavate, even though you've called in your locate ticket and waited 48 hours.
So what we have behind us is a hub where we do have fiber going in and out. Hitting one fiber could actually shut this facility down, which has cell towers, customers, businesses. Some cases we do have FBI, CIA stuff running through the fiber. So up to 400,000 customers without service, just hitting one fiber.
With all this at stake with today's communication networks, it's in everybody's best interest to excavate responsibly.